Don't all ask good
Mario, is it too early? I mean, when you're around this group, it's a lot of different guys. Have you thought about what it's going to be like this year with so many different faces in the locker room and how it's going to all come together so quickly?
That's the beautiful thing about this league. Every year, no matter how much turnover you have or how much guys you retain, every team is going to be different. You got to rebuild it from the ground up. Every year, everybody kind of starts out the gate at the same time, the same way. And right now, the main thing is just fundamentals, understanding the playbook, understanding your alignment, assignment, technique. All those little things that can be cliche. That's what this time of year is about, is making sure that you got those things back in place. You make sure your eyes right, make sure you know what to communicate, what the checks are, and then from there you're able to build and play faster and faster and faster. And so it's a race to get better at this point. Every individual, every unit, that's all that's going on right now.
Demario, I know it's just day one, but what's it sort of like watching Tyson and James battle?
They battling? I mean, for me as a defensive guy, I'm just worried about my stuff. I got to worry about my checks. I got to worry about, seeing which tight ends in the huddle, seeing fullbacks, seeing the splits, the reads I got to make for the D-line. The checks I got to make for them, understanding my alignment, understanding my spacing. That's what I'm focused on. Most of the time I'm not even conscious of who the quarterback is, So I think for you to be successful in this game, you got to get good at doing your job. And the more you can focus on your responsibility, the better off you'll be. And that's all I'm doing right now.
Mario, apologies if you already been asked this, but does your leadership role change any? You're a pretty out front guy anyway, but does it change any?
I don't think, too much. Leadership is a lifestyle. It's not something you turn on in the locker room. It's not something that you turn on game day. It's so much that goes into that, and most of it is just about being an example. Anytime, any year, you come in, it's on those leaders to step out in front to exemplify and be an example of what our culture is. It's a reason why we've had so much success, over the past 3-4 years. It has to do with the culture, and that's the leaders, on this team, and that's not one or two guys. It's a group of them, and that's how you have that consistency and that continuity and that chemistry that continues to show itself, every year on game day. And I think the guys in the locker room that's been doing it will continue to do it, and that's what makes it so fun and so easy here.
But isn't it kind of natural that in the absence of Drew Brees' voice, there might be more instances where someone else is going to have to have a voice for the whole team, and that might be you, or no?
Better ask your question. I'm trying to understand what you're asking. Say that again.
Well, isn't it natural that in the absence of a voice like Drew Brees, there'll be more instances where it's going to be somebody else's voice, right? And might that be your voice more often this year or not?
Well, certainly when you lose a player of that magnitude, you don't have a player like that. It's, who we kidding? That's a Hall of Famer that just walked out of the locker room. That you look at all these banners up here. He's a huge reason why all those banners are up here. You can't take that away. And so certainly there's going to be, a void or something that's going to happen. It's going to be a shift in the locker room, right? And so anytime a shift happens, a new challenge presents itself, new obstacles present themselves, and that's what leaders do. You don't know leaders in the good times. You know leaders during challenges, during adversity, and it's about rising to the occasion. It's about rising to meet that challenge, whatever it is. So can we forecast what those challenges are going to be, what those obstacles are going to be? I don't think it's too early to tell. All we know right now is we have, day one of training camp. We back here, everybody's in place, and we working. And I think that's all you can do at this standpoint. As the season, unfolds itself, different guys will rise to the occasion, different guys will stand up. 5'6" gonna do what 5'6" do. That's all I can tell you.
Lamar, how curious are you to see kind of the growth inside your position group? A lot of young faces, not as much playing time. How curious do you see that growth in your group?
Well, I think we're very blessed inside our locker room. You got quite a few guys that were drafted, pretty high second-round guys, third-round guys. So even though they're young, they've shown that they have, a high talent level. Every locker room can't say that. And so you can see the way those guys move. You can see how eager they are to learn. It's a reason why, the team, took them where they took them. And so I think the faster that they can lock in on the way that the NFL game is played, understanding not just what the coaches are asking them to do, but understanding the ways offenses are going to try to attack them, the faster that they can get that learning curve and show that on a consistent basis to get the coaches to trust them to get them in the game, the better it's going to be for their career. So from an individual standpoint, I'm excited for them. And as far as the unit, goes, Coach Hodges is phenomenal, making sure that we're going to be ready on game day. And so regardless of who those guys are that's out on the field, we're going to be ready to put on a good product.
Dad, you out there with a couple different guys today. Does chemistry play a part in all for the success for you and whoever you're playing alongside?
The good thing about our unit on defense is it's not too much ebb and flow when different guys come on, just because, our coaches coach the ones and the threes the same. And so a lot of times when I'm out there, I'm so focused on my job that, I'm not conscious of which guys are in. It's not going to change the checks I make. It's not going to change the way I communicate. So when I look to my left, the guy on my left is the guy on my left. And, I trust him. And so I got a job to do. He has a job to do. And so regardless, the call is the call and the play got to play regardless of who that person is. And so I think that's the way I try to look at it.
I know it's crazy early, but just even in the classroom, anything about Werner that stood out to you so far?
I think he's just a guy that's eager to learn, asks good questions, always locked in, real smart player, moves good. He got a chance to have some success in this league.
Does it make a big difference to you if you play Mike or Will? I mean, do you have a preference, or are you more willing to wherever they put you, depending on where the next guy fits best?
I'm the type of guy, I'm going to be ready to do whatever my coaches ask me to do. There are very distinct differences in the Mike and Will position. In the time that I've been here, I've been asked to play both, and have had a lot of success at it. So, I think that breathes into my confidence that I can do whatever that they need me to do. Being able to change between Mike and Will, back to Will and back to Mike during last season, and still being able to play at all pro level, I think that's as challenging as it can get, and so from learning and, adjusting your body, adjusting your techniques. So having gone through that and had success, I'm confident wherever they need me.
Do you
Demario,
expect to play Mike long term at this point, or undetermined?
Well, I think, a lot of that depends on, what happens, which guys step up and which emerge. Because I'm a guy that can have flexibility. Our whole room has to have the flexibility. So I'm used to being coached at both and understanding both. Right now they have me primarily at Mike. And so I'm cool with that. And if they change me, I ain't complained before, I won't complain now.
Demario, because you have done it in the past, or you perceive yourself as leading the chant before every game? Because, Drew Brees did it, and if he wasn't available, you did it. Or you think that's one of your roles? You get the team fired up. I know you got to work on that, and they're thinking of all the games, but are you going to be the guy leading the chant?
Well, I say to be determined. Let's keep the anticipation.
Just one quick one on the defensive interior. You're going to be playing, behind those guys, and it won't be Sheldon Rankins, and it won't be Brown, and then it won't be David for the first 6 games or so. I'm just curious as to, your approach to handling, overseeing that turnover, or, communicating with new guys.
Yeah, it's a challenge, especially, not having a player like, David, early on in the season. He's proven to be one of the best interior guys in the league consistently. So it certainly makes a difference when he's out there and when he's not. But you've had young guys step up, Shy, Malcolm Roach, that play some good downs for us and have been productive. Plus on the outside, we got some dominant guys. And so, and you're not going to find a better defensive line coach in the league than Ryan. And so I'm not worried about what's going on up there. I know we'll be in good hands. All right, thank you guys.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
We'll do Traquan Smith here, and then Marcus Davenport.